This is Yoli, and welcome back to this YouTube channel on AgriBits. So on the previous video, I discussed about the origin of agriculture, including some theories, and we knew that yung agriculture, nagsimula siya during the ends of the Ice Age around 10,000 to 15,000 years ago. And in here, I'm going to share also about yung origin of our crops. So noon, origin ng agriculture, and now we will discuss about the origin of our crops, and this topic is divided into two parts. I will first introduce to you how the lands have been divided into continents because this has something to do, okay, with the origins of our crops and animals and every living organism that had roamed and grew on the surface. So let's start during the Ice Age. Nung Ice Age, glaciers have covered huge parts of the planet Earth. So may 5 po na at least documented na major ice ages during the 4.6 billion years since the Earth was formed. And most likely, many ice ages before that, okay, before human beings came on the scene, may have also occurred. At the time of the Pleistocene, the continents have moved to the current positions, but during one point of that era, during the Ice Age, yung mga sheets of ice have covered all of Antarctica, okay, large parts of Europe and Northern America. Hanggang sa ngayon, makikita pa natin yung mga stretch of ice or the remains of glaciers of the Ice Age sa different parts of the world, including yung Greenland and dito, we can see here si isang scientist named Alfred Wegener. Siya po ay isang German climatologist and geophysicist. He has a book that he published in 1915 entitled Origin of Continents and Oceans. And he was also the one who proposed the theory or hypothesis called continental drift and plant distribution. The continental drift hypothesis was developed in the early part of the 20th century, mostly by Wegener. So sabi niya, yung mga continents, they moved around the Earth's surface and they were joined together as a single supercontinent na ang tawag doon ay Pangaea. So nung buhay pa siya, yung mga scientists with him did not believe that the continents could move. But still, he suggested that itong Pangaea na supercontinent broke up long ago and that the continents then moved to their current positions. So he called this hypothesis continental drift. Between the Paleozoic and Mesozoic eras, there was a single landmass. Ito yung sinasabing single landmass, okay, Pangaea. So, single landmass lang ang nakabuo sa mundo. So this was during the Paleozoic era. And it was during the middle of the Mesozoic era when this Pangaea was divided into two land masses. Ang tawag doon ay Laurasia and then the Gondwana lands. This was because of the movement of the tectonic plates. So after another several millions of years, again, this Laurasia and Gondwana lands were broken down into several land masses, itong land masses, and giving rise to the early continents and movements of the Earth's plate distanced the bits of land masses. So, eto na, makikita natin yung mga land masses dito, which broke more into earlier continents to several pieces until our present continents today. Ano ba ang key principles behind sa plate tectonics? So before that, ditong map na ito, it shows the largest plates. So we have here an Indo and Australian plates dito sa part na dito. Okay, so this is the Australian plate, this is the Indian plate. and they may be breaking apart during that time. So, itong plate tectonics, may tinatawag tayo na lithosphere and then the asthenosphere. So, itong lithosphere, it exists as separate and distinct tectonic plates which float on the fluid like na viscoelastic solid. Okay? So, etong lithosphere, it exists na nagfo-float siya dito sa isang sphere which is called asthenosphere. Yung fluidity ng asthenosphere na ito, it allows the tectonic plates to move into different directions. Now, we have the life during the Ice Age. So how about yung buhay during the Ice Age? So in this image, we can see the stunning uh, the stunning marine wilderness of etong national park. So this is Glacier Bay National Park and Preserve in Alaska. So the park includes tidewater glaciers, etong mga snow-capped mountains here, ocean coastlines, the deep fjords and freshwater rivers, and lakes. So while Homo sapiens evolved, or mga humans evolved, many vertebrates, especially large mammals, succumbed to the harsh climate conditions of this period. And one of the richest sources of information about life in the Pleistocene epoch can be found in the La Brea tar pits, which is located in Los Angeles, where remains of everything from insects to plant life to animals were preserved. So including a partial skeleton of a female human and a nearly complete woolly mammoth. Although many vertebrates became extinct during this period, mammals that are familiar to us today, including yung mga unggoy, yung mga rabbits, kangaroos, etc., could be found during this time. Of course, yung mga dinosaurs during this Pleistocene epoch cannot be found kasi they had become extinct the at the end of the Cretaceous period, more than 60 million years before the Pleistocene epoch began. And yung mga birds and reptiles also thrive during this period, during the Ice Age. And vegetation was still limited in many areas. May mga conifers like pine trees. Okay, so ang pine trees, they belong to conifer family. We have the cypress and the yew. They were scattered along with the oaks and beeches na mga broadleaf trees. So pag sa mga other literatures, they are described there sa early agriculture, or even the division of the continents before, ang mga early trees na broadleaves, may oak doon na always nababanggit. And also prairie grasses, some lilies, orchids, and rose families were found also that were growing on the ground. Ngayon, mass extinction. So, an impact daw caused a mass extinction 66 million years ago. And fast forward, so about 13,000 years ago na, more than 3/4 of the large Ice Age animals, including woolly mammoths, mastodons, okay, and giant bears, died out. Kaya hindi na natin makikita today, okay? In here, this is the timeline of mass extinction events. So there have been 5 major extinction events referred to as the Big Five. So the first extinction event goes back 444 million years ago to 490 million years ago to the Paleozoic era. Okay, so this is the Paleozoic era here. The second was the Ordovician, where 86% of all life on Earth was eliminated. Then followed by the Devonian extinction event, 375 million years ago, where another 75% of life went extinct. Yung biggest na extinction event was the devastating end Permian extinction event 251 million years ago. Okay? Where almost nothing left kasi 96% of all species disappeared. The fifth and most famous extinction event is the catastrophe that wiped out the dinosaurs called the End Cretaceous event. So dito sa part na ito, the End Cretaceous event. So over the years, it has gained publicity due to what scientists called the smoking gun. So yun, lahat, okay, nawala during those. Lahat ng buhay halos nawala during those the Cretaceous. We have here also a map that shows yung mga ancient fossils of the same species of extinct plants and animals that are found in rocks of the same age but are on continents that were now widely separated. So sabi ni Wegener noon, he proposed that the organisms had lived side by side, but that the lands had moved apart after they were dead and fossilized. So he suggested that yung mga organisms would not have been able to travel across the oceans. Example niya dito, yung mga fossils of the seed fern Glossopteris. Seeds dito ay mabigat daw. So it's too heavy to be carried so far by wind. So dito lang sa part ng Antarctica matatagpuan. So it was not able to be dispersed apart or afar. And there is also a reptile called Mesosaurus. So ito, Mesosaurus was a swimming reptile only in fresh water. So when the continents divided, of course, salty water na yan, hindi na maka-swim si Mesosaurus to cross to other continents. So dito lang siya matatagpuan sa part din ng South America. Then we have also Cynogathus and Listrosaurus. These were land reptiles and hindi sila makalangoy sa kahit anong tubig. So they were only isolated sa parts ng mga where they had been found before the continents or the land masses were divided. Grooves and rock deposits left by ancient glaciers are found today on different continents very close to the equator. So this would indicate na yung mga glaciers either formed in the middle of the ocean or covered mostly of the earth. So today, only yung mga glaciers only form on land and near the poles kagaya ng North Pole and doon sa. So what then do all of these epochal periods have to do with the origin of crops? So, well, these eras explain how and why plants and animals and other living organisms are either found on many other continents, while some are not, or are just concentrated on one region. So it also explains how the first agriculturists had to resort to domestication of plants and animals, and that is also the same reason kung bakit maraming species, especially animals, still continue until today to become extinct as years progress, as will be discussed on part 2 of this topic. So friends, this is all again for the moment, and see you in part 2. But before we part, please don't forget to click the like buttons and the subscribe button. Bye-bye!